Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sofia Lapuja. In this video, I will explain teaching media for speaking in senior high school. First, definition of speaking. Harris states that the ability to speak a foreign language is the most prized skill because someone who can speak a language will also be able to understand it. On the other hand, Noonan states speaking ability as the ability to use in essentially normal communication, stress, grammatical structure, and vocabulary of the foreign language at normal rate delivery for native speakers of the language. Speaking ability is very important in our life because we as a human being have a need to use it to communicate with each others. Based on the explanation of expert above, it is concluded that speaking is the ability to useful activity in which one person needs to use and to communicate with each other. Speaking is one of the components of a language. The existence of speaking is important and cannot be separated by the existence of a language. It means that there is no interaction exists without speaking. Speaking is the most important element for students when they're learning English language. Next is definition of teaching media. Teaching media are tools which are provided and brought into classroom by a teacher to facilitate teaching learning process. Teaching media are all physical devices which can present message and stimulate students to learn. Those teaching media are expected to help teacher present the lesson more clearly and interesting to be followed by the students. Instructional media as the physical means by which instruction is delivered to students. Thus, the definition of media includes all of the traditional means of delivering instruction, including teachers, chalkboard, textbooks, and other print material, as well as the newer instructional media such as computers, CD-ROM, interactive video, and multimedia systems. It can be concluded that media are everything that can help teachers to deliver the lessons to the students, to make the lesson clear and easier to understand and observed by the students so that they get more zealous to participate in learning activity. Next is function of media. The presence and availability of teaching media are expected to help teachers and students to solve learning obstacles. Media have four functions. They are 1. Media can attract students' attention more so that it can stimulate learning motivation. 2. Media can make subject matter clearer, and more meaningful so that it is easily understood by the students and enable them to master the expected competence better. 3. It can make learning method more various, not merely verbal communication through teachers' words, so that students doesn't get bored and the teachers doesn't get run out of the energy. And the last, media can make students do more learning activities because they do not only listen to teachers' explanation, but also have other activities such as observing, demonstrating, and so forth. Next, kinds of teaching media for speaking. First, visual media. So, basically, visual media in learning is everything can be seen by eyes and brought into classroom as visual teaching media to support learning process run well. There are four types of visual media. There are printed media, realia, overhead transparency, and LCD projector. Printed media. These media include English textbooks, magazines, newspapers, journal, bulletins, and dictionary. The use of this media in teaching English is necessary and meaningful because it can help learners to get more knowledge and information through reading widely and provide more enjoyment from various sources of facts. Besides, there are also other kinds of printed media. They are graphic media. These media are in the forms of photographs, graphics, pictures, maps, models, game, puzzle, wall charts, comic strip, flashcard or cue card, brochure, poster, and etc. And realia realia are real objects which can be brought into the classroom as teaching media. So realia is a real or imitative object brought into classroom as visual teaching media. There are many kinds of realia. Some of them are as follows: big calendar, puzzle or game, menu of restaurant, big map or globe, and hand puppet. And the last for visual media is overhead transparency or OHT and LCD projector. The use of this media enabled a teacher to write or describe or explain something to the students. In English learning, this media can be used to present video or pictures. Next, audio media. Audio media is instructional media that have functions to help students learning through produced voice. Audio media are the media of which the contents are recorded and can be heard. By the produced voice, students can identify the intonation and pronunciation without live presence or native speakers. These media include radio, tape recorder, audio compact disc, MP3, MP4, etc. And then audio-visual media. Audio-visual are the media which can be seen and heard, such as television and film. Audio-visual presents complete communicative situation. The students can be easy to understand the visual impression, gestures, physical background sound, and learning becomes closer to real-life situation. It is very important to review any programs and assess its worth to class situation, time, and its content value, and how to operate it more effectively to benefit all children in learning the content. These media include film, TV program recorded both picture and voice on video CD. To use the media that I have mentioned above, it is important for the teacher to select appropriate media available and interrelates the components to the curriculum because each media above has their respective strength and weakness in using them. And the last point is examples using teaching media for speaking in senior high school. First, visual media in printed media. I have mentioned 3 student handbook from class 10, class 11, class 12. And in senior high school handbook class 10 chapter 1 talking about self, page 12, there is a guessing games Who Am I? In that book, there is a directions that you will play a kind of guessing game Who Am I? Your teacher will put a post-it paper with one of the words below on your back. You need to work in pairs and guess what the word on your back is by asking questions. Your partner may only answer your question with either yes or no. Observe the following examples of the questions. Does it relate to a family relationship? Am I female? Am I female? Am I a mother? Does it relate to a profession? Do I work in a hospital? Am I a medical doctor? Does it relate to a hobby? Am I an outdoor activity? Am I related to music? From the example that I have mentioned before, that the student must be asking some question to their friend or to their partner, because by asking question they will be find an answer to question Who am I? And the next example of printed media is from Senior High School Handbook Class 11 Chapter 3 Party Time, page 40 and 41. In that book, there is a pointy, active conversation. There is a direction that with the partner create dialogues to accept and decline invitations. Using the role play approach, reenact the conversation with your classmates. You can model your conversation based on the examples of invitations given below. There is invitation to dinner, invitation to the grand opening of ABC software company, and the last example of printed media is from Senior High School Handbook Class 12 Chapter 2, Why Don't You Visit Zero, page 16 and 17. There is a point C pronunciation practice, and the direction is listen and repeat after your teacher. Listen to your teacher reading these words, repeat after him or her. There are 13 vocabulary such as amid, zero, emerald, Bainbridge Island, stroll around, gallery, boutiques, cozy, caves, numerous, laser, sophisticated. Next, for example, visual media and in realia. There are restaurant menus. By restaurant menus, invite your class to an exclusive American or British restaurant to practice ordering a meal at a restaurant. Show them a digitized restaurant menu to order from. And next, tickets and receipt. Buy tickets and receipt, supermarket tickets, theater stubs, hotel bill. All of these provide a lot of information you can talk about with your class. And visual media in overhead transparency or OHD and LCD projector. For example, the teacher showed the pictures and after that the teacher can ask the student to describe the pictures. Next, audio media. Podcast provides many models of speaking performance. Example, interview, dialogue, conversation, and report. Additionally, the growth of podcasts for English language teaching. Podcasts have provided a various content as well which assists either teacher or students to improve speaking skill in teaching and learning process. Man SZE in Barto shows the content types in podcast as follows: 1. Comprehensive, whole lessons, vocabulary, idiom, and etc., conversation with a script, jokes, stories, poetry. And from this above content type, it will assist teachers to choose the appropriate model for teaching students speaking skill. Content which is accompanied by the transcript and various exercise will be more helpful in learning process. And teachers can provide the materials from podcasts based on the goal of teaching speaking. And the last is audio visual media. Using film as a media applied by using three-phase technique. They are pre-teaching, while teaching, and post-teaching. In this case, the teacher used some character of film as a media to teach speaking to students. Pre-teaching activities. The first stage is called pre-teaching activity. In this teaching activity, the teacher starts the meeting in the classroom. It usually takes around 10 to 15 minutes. The activities involved in this stage are: the teacher grades the students, the teacher checks the students' attendance, the teacher checks the student readiness to study, the classroom is clean, the students are on their seats, and the seating arrangement is steady. The teacher does the Apperception. Apperception means the activity which emphasizes to recall what students have learned in the previous meeting. Next, Wilt's teaching activities. In this activity, the process is aimed to reach basic competence, which is done interactively, joyfully, challengingly, and motivationally. Wilt's teaching activities is the main activity in which the lesson begins to be introduced, delivered, and practiced during the class. In this activity is divided into three stages. They are exploration, elaboration, and confirmation. First, exploration. In the exploration, the teacher and student do some activities to activate background knowledge and stimulate the student's imagination with the material given. And elaboration. In elaboration, teacher facilitates students by giving them some tasks, discussions, and so forth. However, there are some procedures that have to be followed by the students. First, the teacher divides the class into several small groups. Each of group has 3 members. The member of each group are chosen to support all of the students to be active in discussion and they can help each other to be active. Second, each of member has different position in the discussion, but all of members should be active and work together in giving idea. While the group discussion, the teacher must lead them and check their job. All the group have finished in the time given. And confirmation. Teacher's job is to do confirmation to all of students. In the other words, the teacher gives a positive feedback and emphasizes what they have done. The teacher gives exercise to the student. And last, post-teaching activities. In post-teaching activity, the teacher motivates students who didn't participate yet. Teacher and students repeat again some expression of speaking that they have just learned. In this phase, the teacher also asks students to watch other episode and find new expression individually, but it will be homework for the students. Because of the limited time in teaching and learning process, the teacher asks every student to tell the story more in the next meeting. It will make the student continue to learn about English speaking at home. The teacher concludes the lessons and close the class by prayer. And maybe that's all the explanation from teaching media for speaking in senior high school from me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.